Out comes shield advantage, Typhlosion. The opponent going to stay in, look to force final protection, go fishing for the attack drop. Typhlosion invests to protect shield. The breaking swipe does not drop our attack. Out comes Steelix. Steelix about to make a very brief cameo appearance. Steelix straight in and straight out. Back out comes Regidrago. Typhlosion still not done. Going to reach the blast burn, and that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Tuesday, aka League Rotation Day. I always try and put out a video today, so those of you that don't want to see top team videos actually have some Go Battle League content to look at. Today we have an absolute banger of a battle submission from my friend theCharonsClaw. theCharonsClaw is running all 3 Johto starters in their shadow form, which simply means 2 Protect Shields cannot save you from the wrath of this powerful shadow team. Unless you've been under a rock, you'll know in PvP, starter Pokemon with access to their Comday moves are completely busted. We've got Frenzy Plant, we've got Blast Burn, we've got Hydro Cannon. All 3 moves hit like a truck with the added 20% shadow bonus. I've got a horrible habit of dragging these intros out for far too long, and I have night shift imminent in around an hour. So with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, theCharonsClaw leads Meganium into Dusclops. I think Meganium's a super interesting pick. In the early seasons of Go Battle League, it was quite common. However, nowadays, other grass types just outclass it. Both Feraligatr and Typhlosion have both been buffed in recent seasons, with Feraligatr, of course, getting access to Shadow Claw and Typhlosion gaining access to Thunder Punch. Niantic / Scopely, come on, give Meganium that buff it is so destined for. Thankfully, as I was yapping away, we didn't miss the first big boom as we fired off the Ice Beam, forcing the opponent all shields down. I'm already calling this game is signed, sealed and delivered. Unless they've got Carbink, Bastiodon or potentially Gastrodon, Typhlosion up 2 Protect Shields is just going to clap the absolute shit out of everything. Speaking of which, we send out Typhlosion, the opponent doesn't want the smoke and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, commanding lead but problematic save switch. Furric could just Sucker Punch farm down Typhlosion and will outpace with an energy lead. Feraligatr doesn't fancy the smoke, as running Shadow Claw, our quick move would be double resisted. The theCharonsClaw stays in, tanks the Swift, fires off the Frenzy Plant, obtaining that shield advantage, and here comes Gator. This by no means a great spot for Gator to be in. These Shadow Claws essentially doing nothing, and we haven't quite Vine Whipped them into range where one Hydro Cannon will be lethal. theCharonsClaw over farms, fires off the Hydro Cannon, winning charge attack priority, and you can see that just simply doesn't cut it. There's no real point in shielding, because if we shielded, we'd get Sucker Punch farm down before we Shadow Claw farm them down. I was actually thinking when we counter swap Feraligatr, why didn't we go Typhlosion? But even if we would have went Typhlosion, Feraligatr would still be hitting for resisted with the Shadow Claws as the opponent's got Pangoro in the back. Despite the commanding lead, our backline hasn't fared too well into the opponents. We call the Night / Bait, get the Incinerate farm down, leaving on minimal HP, which is definitely better for us as Quagsire will get less farm. Back out comes Ferret, we force in the Blast Burn, massive overkill. Quagsire only gets 1 mud shot and it's going to be a race. Can the opponent double up on Aqua Tails? Before we reach the double Frenzy Plant, you can see the mud shot come through. So the answer to that question is they cannot. The first Frenzy Plant forces the opponent's final protection. The second one, massive overkill. Meganium claims a victim and we take that game. Heading into the next battle. Oh baby, the absolute dream lead. Although again, we found somewhat of a problematic save switch. theCharonsClaw, like, what problem, Jamie Finn? We've got Earthquake and we're full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? Oof. Earthquake has been nerfed in recent seasons. Meganium, of course, isn't a ground type. Toxapec's insanely bulky, but that did crazy damage. theCharonsClaw then sent out Feraligatr. Feraligatr correctly shielded up the Sludge Wave. This is only a brine. Oh my gosh, we are in such a commanding spot. Back out comes Marowak, and I guess the opponent's just going to sacrifice it, right? The opponent shields the first Hydro Cannon. Why would you shield when you've already seen Meganium? That, to me, makes 0 sense. The opponent actually double shields Marowak. The opponent looks for the Mud Slap farm down. Feraligatr grinning away, says no. Reach the next Hydro Cannon. Marowak invests both Protect Shields, still gets knocked out. Out comes the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death. Typhlosion hits the field of play. And have no doubt, this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. Thunder Punch almost picks up the one-hit KO. The opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we found a massive core breaker in the form of Zweilous, a very spicy pick. Who runs Zweilous nowadays? But it completely core breaks this team. All 3 of our quick moves are resisted. No, trainer! Why wouldn't you shield? People often tell me I shoutcast at a million miles an hour, and unlike other content creators, my commentary isn't sped up. This is actually how quickly I talk, and that's probably one of the first times ever I've been completely bamboozled and lost for words. With Xylos out of the way, Typhlosion core breaking the opponent, however Meganium has literally nowhere to go into the team. Speaking of which, theCharonsClaw chucks it out, looks to sacrifice it to the Pokegods. Brave Bird picks up the knockout. Can we incinerate? Farm down? That's DRE, you've got to be kidding me. The last few videos, I've tried not to speak about game state, but there is two issues there. Firstly, what one turn bring in, and for the opponent to even reach that charge move, they need damage registration error. A crazy battle with some crazy win cons from the opponent. Two bullshit game mechanics, let's just move on. Meganium into Sizzle, theCharonsClaw says no thank you, save switches into Feraligatr, baiting out the Dene. Despite this being a type disadvantage matchup, Feraligatr is an absolute monster in any matchup where Shadow Claw and the Hydro Cannon spam hits for neutral. theCharonsClaw matches Protect Shields, fires off the next Hydro Cannon, forcing the opponent all shields down. The opponent then makes a huge mistake in my opinion, not over farming whatsoever. This now sets up the opportunity for theCharonsClaw to send up Meganium, massively overfarm, and potentially Earthquake the unshielded Sizzle. The opponent going to full send a Play Rough. You can see Meganium, even as a shadow, is very, very bulky. theCharonsClaw does overfarm, fire off the Frenzy Plant picks up the knockout. We're going to bank our energy and send out Typhlosion. The opponent's final Pokemon is revealed to be Diggersby, aka Thickersby, the world's bulkiest bunny. We invest the Protect Shield. I was going to say, on a likely Fire Punch bait, the opponent actually full send the Scorching Sands. theCharonsClaw farms up to 100 energy, fires off the Blast Burn. Oh, it still doesn't knock out. It's just a Fire Punch, but Fire Punch probably knocks us out. It does not. We actually survive the quick attacks as well. Typhlosion leaves on fractional HP, but with the Blast Burn loaded, and this Blast Burn's going to kill this Sizzle and every Sizzle that ever entered the Go Battle League, and we take that game. Poor old Meganium cannot catch a break. I really wanted Meganium to be good in today's video, but I guess we can see why no one uses it. It is having a rough time of it. Once again, theCharonsClaw leans on the Feraligatr save switch. The opponent tank the Hydro Cannon and then send out Swampert. Feraligatr grinning away, gonna fire off yet another Hydro Cannon, forcing the first Protect Shield of the game. The opponent has thrown 9 mud shots. They're going to need to full send an Earthquake. If that is their second move to pick up the knockout, they just go for the Sludge. Sludge simply does not cut it. Feraligatr still not done. Fires off yet another Hydro Cannon, forcing the opponent all shields down. theCharonsClaw looks to get some use out of Meganium, and double super effective Vine Whips into a Mud Boy is certainly a good use. Unfortunately, unable to Vine Whip farm down before the double sludge is reached, and Meganium gets completely sacrificed to the Pokegods. Typhlosion hits the field of play with magical 2 to no shield advantage. The opponent recognise they're going to get farmed down, pivot into Jellicent. Jellicent might be a water type, but Thunder Punch in this battle just does so much damage. theCharonsClaw throws at Discipline time in 1 Incinerate and the charge move, only giving the opponent 1 free turn. Here, I would have liked to see us throw on alignment, AK back-to-back. The reason for that is Ninetales does have a Weather Ball banked, and this endgame is now going to get very, very dicey. We farm up to the double Thunder Punch. We need to ensure this Thunder Punch lands on its intended target. The opponent sends out Swampert, pivot into Ninetales. They don't get their move off. I'm not entirely sure what happened in that endgame, but we fire off the Thunder Punch on the low health Swampert and take that game. I think we could have made the endgame easier for ourselves if we just fired off back-to-back, knocked out Jellicent and saved the Protect Shield. But either way, theCharonsClaw was able to emerge victorious. In the next battle, we see Meganium into Clodsire. Thankfully, this one doesn't have Sludge Bomb, so only the Poison Stings do hit for super effective. Meganium full sends the Earthquake, rocking Clodsire deep into the red health range. theCharonsClaw happy to soft lose this opening matchup and likely send out Feraligatr to get a very nice energy lead. At Stone Edge picks up the knockout. Feraligatr hits the field of play. Feraligatr able to Shadow Claw farm down and already have a Hydro Cannon bank for whatever enters the arena. The opponent taking a long time to send something out, finally send out Drapion, but behind this much energy, this is not a good spot for the opponent. We fire off the Hydro Cannon forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Even if the opponent full send a crunch, 1 is survivable. The opponent does full send the crunch. Feraligatr tanks their damage, unleashes the next Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon goes unshielded. We pivot into Typhlosion, looking for the snipe, and out comes Cradilly. Uh-oh, trainer, you're in trouble. Just the Incinerate damage, tearing through Cradilly. The only lose con for theCharonsClaw is baiting for no reason whatsoever. theCharonsClaw not messing around, going to full send the Blast Burn. Blast Burn forces the Protect Shield. The opponent correctly shielded up, we're doubled up. The second one, even debuffed, removes Cradilly from the field of play. We incinerate farm down Drapion and take that game. In the next battle, the tough leads for Meganium continue. We see the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. We save switch into Feraligatr, and out comes Marowak. A point to note, this is a regular Marowak. The Shadow variant can cheese its way through this matchup in the 2-shield scenario, but the regular just won't have the damage output. The opponent recognised that, completely sacked Marowak, and instead opt to take shield advantage in the mid-game matchup. Back out comes the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, Trainer. We know Feraligatr usage has dropped off, but you can't be this weak to a Feraligatr. Oh my days. The threat of another Hydro Cannon is going to force Talonflame's energy as well, which is best case scenario. We can now flip alignment, sending Typhlosion into Talonflame. The TheCharonsClaw looks to fire off the next Thunder Punch, winning charge attack priority. The opponent reads the TheCharonsClaw like a book, catch onto Gastrodon. The TheCharonsClaw keeps composed, banks the Thunder Punch for later, and sends out Meganium. This is such a commanding matchup. Oh my gosh, that body slam did absolutely nothing. The TheCharonsClaw going to be able to tank another one, fully Vine Whip farm down. Whilst Talonflame is by no means a good matchup, the Earthquake is going to be single resisted and the opponent cannot shield as we've got a Thunder Punch banked. Earthquake does far too much damage. Meganium actually able to Vine Whip farm down Talonflame and take that game. You know what I'm thinking, Meganium is a Talonflame counter confirmed. You heard it here first. In the next battle, we see Dugong in the lead position. Decent enough for Meganium. We're able to force a Protect Shield. Firing off the Frenzy Plant, we then see the TheCharonsClaw catch what should be the Icy Wind onto Feraligatr. Very, very nicely done. The opponent sends out Primeape, goes straight for that Rage Fist and look to start vamping up their damage output. Feraligatr shrugs off the damage, returns fire with the Hydro Cannon. Even at -1, this probably forced a Protect Shield as Primeape loves to shield everything. A boosted Primeape with energy isn't really something you ever want to see when you're running a triple Shadow team. We send out Meganium. Can Meganium tank a +1 Rage Fist and reach a Frenzy Plant? Yes, it can. Meganium, I've given you some stick, but very, very nice bulk on display. The TheCharonsClaw now has Typhlosion with magical 2-0 shield advantage. No Bastiodon, no Carbink, no Mud Slapper. This game is going to be no problem. The opponent go for the Icy Wind bait, continue to stay in. Typhlosion unleashes the Thunder Punch. A Thunder Punch removes Dugong from the field of play. Out comes the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, and we all know how this one's going to end. We're doubled up on Thunder Punches. The first one does over half the opponent's health. The TheCharonsClaw farms up, throws the Bad Manners Blast Burn, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Oh, come on. Meganium losing lead after lead. Once again, the TheCharonsClaw task Feraligatr were putting in some work here in the mid-game matchup. The opponent farm up to a potential Energy Ball. Bait with the Weather Ball. Feraligatr undeterred, going to return fire with the Ice Beam. Ice Beam forces our Protect Shield back. And I think at this point, you just say, Feraligatr, thank you very much for your contribution. The opponent again go for the Weather Ball bait. Oh my gosh, Trainer, what are you doing? The opponent then fires off yet another Weather Ball on the charge attack priority. Invest their final protection. This Weather Ball doesn't even knock us out. The opponent making a complete hash of this matchup, masturbating continuously and getting punished for it. Feraligatr reaches yet another Hydro Cannon, knocking out a Bomber Snow. A Water type beating a Grass type in the 1-2 shield is ridiculous, and this is why you shouldn't bait. The TheCharonsClaw now has the perfect alignment. Meganium into Wish Daddy Cash and Typhlosion against the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. This game more or less unlosable. I guess I shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch. Lose con for us would be the opponent Mudshot farming us down and blizzarding Meganium to the face. I'm not going to write that win con off just yet, as we've seen plenty of crazy things happen on the channel, although the opponent not even able to Mudshot farm down Typhlosion. Do they have Blizzard? Who knows? Who cares? As the TheCharonsClaw able to emerge victorious as we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Meganium into Marowak. The opponent save switch into Marowak's RPS partner in crime, the ever-annoying, stupid Marshmallow Wigglytuff. Strategies like this that the opponent are running very much rely on forcing alignment. However, Mr. Opponent, how do you like a taste of your own medicine? You are the one being RPS'd in this battle. Typhlosion fully incinerate farms down, leaving minimal farm for the return in Marowak. The opponent recognised Marowak has no value. Tank the Blast Burn. We send out Feraligatr. Feraligatr Gets the energy lead, out comes Bastiodon. That was definitely RPS nonsense, but the TheCharonsClaw not falling victim of any of that crap, and we take that game. If you are someone that enjoys Wigglytuff and Bastiodon and you're easily offended, this probably isn't the channel for you. Sorry, not sorry. I don't look to cater to everyone. I enjoy what I enjoy, and every time I see that RPS crap, I'm going to talk plenty of shit about people using the teams. In the next battle, we saw Regidrago in the lead position. We say switch into Feraligatr, and out comes Big Man Blastoise. Feraligatr able to force alignment here in the mid-game matchup. However, this Regidrago is still going to be a problem for us. However, Feraligatr putting in so much work, even able to reach the departing Hydro Cannon, forcing a Protect Shield. We then pivot back into Meganium, rather than concede a farm down. Earthquake would hit for a lot of neutral damage, and even a resisted Frenzy Plant would do a lot, as a Frenzy Plant is a completely busted move. The TheCharonsClaw continues to farm up energy, gonna shield the Breaking Swipe, and he is full sending the Earthquake. I guess we'd love this to go unshielded, potentially putting the opponent into resisted Incinerate farm down range. The opponent invests their final Protect Shield, and this now sets up Typhlosion with a shield advantage looking to sweep the back line. The opponent stay in, gonna fire off the Breaking Swipe, looking to force the final Protect Shield and go fishing for the attack drop. No attack drop does come through. Out comes Steelix. Steelix going to make a very brief cameo appearance. Steelix straight in and straight out. Blast Burn picks up that one hit KO. Back out comes Regidrago. The opponent looked for the Dragon Breath farm down. Typhlosion says no. Reaches the Blast Burn, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see yet another lost lead for Meganium. As always, Feraligatr tasked with putting in work in the safe switch position. We go straight for the Hydro Cannon, getting it off before the opponent potentially reaches a Trailblaze or bait us with a Night Slash. I think here we've got high incentive to call the Night Slash bait, so if the opponent falls in a Trailblaze, they're just going to get outpaced. The opponent did fire the Night Slash, and then they're able to fire off the next Night Slash, winning charge attack priority. We send out Typhlosion, Typhlosion able to Incinerate farm down. Out comes Barbaracle. Holy man, I've never seen this thing in the Open Great League. It's pretty good in some theme cups, but the Open Great League is a very, very spicy pick. We land the Thunder Punch, see the pivot into Meganium. Oh my gosh, baiting out the snail. Come on, trainer, it's a Frenzy Earthquake! Ah, go shielded. The opponent then end up playing to CMP. No, trainer, I think you give us a wink on. Frenzy Plant hits for neutral, and a lot of neutral damage at that. I think it's actually done too much damage. We need this snail to survive and incinerate. As Barbaracle, it's only going to be one Mud Slap off either the Razor Shell or Cross Chop, and we're definitely in either of them move range. The opponent actually conceded the match. Why? Why would you concede there? The only logical explanation is they've got like Stone Edge and Grass Knot on. They haven't got a 35 energy charge move. I guess we'll never know. In the next battle, we saw Marowak in the lead position. The opponent safe switching to Bastiodon. Who the heck safe switches Bastiodon, man? Bastiodon is a very nonsense RPS pick, and you kind of need to force alignment and get Bastiodon aligned against something that isn't a Mud Boy. The opponent end up very fortunately playing a trainer that doesn't run a toxic Mud Slapper. A lot of people are starting to run Annihilate as well. We've seen a Primate. Just don't switch Bastiodon. If you're going to use this absolutely crappy pick, trust me, just stick to RPS and people and don't use it as a safe switch. I'm very, very surprised to see the TheCharonsClaw concede switch advantage. Clearly we can see the opponent's running some kind of nonsense RPS strategy. And against trainers like that, you don't want to give up switch. Out comes Jumpluff. I guess we're still fine here, to be honest. We just need to save the final Protect Shield for our Typhlosion and just double up on Blast Burns. Marowak will die to a Blast Burn, as will Jumpluff. The opponent then throw an alignment as well. And this is why I talk smack about people that are on Bastiodon. Fast move timing, non-existent from the opponent. We're now doubled up on Blast Burns, you know the drill. One to knock out Jumpluff, one to knock out Marowak. And the TheCharonsClaw is going to be able to take that game. After the TheCharonsClaw conceded switch advantage in that battle, the opponent had a very, very easy win con. Once you had Jumpluff aligned against Meganium, you farm up to 100 energy, you go for an undercharge and just ensure you've got all the energy in the world, because Jumpluff would be able to knock out our Typhlosion after we took the Mud Slap damage. Why would you throw so early against Meganium? Frenzy Plant double resisted against Jumpluff, and the Earthquake was triple resisted. Honestly, them RPS teams do my head in, man. In the next battle, we saw Regidrago in the lead position. The TheCharonsClaw looks to change his strategy and actually just completely sacrifices Meganium. We then send out Feraligatr. Feraligatr goes to one shield, full Shadow Claw farm down. And despite being down in Protection, we're not in a bad spot, as out comes Dusclops. Dusclops by no means a good Feraligatr answer. The Shadow Claws hit for super effective, and the Hydro Cannon spam is real. We're able to force our Protect Shield back. Firing off the Hydro Cannon, it looks like we're going to save the final Protect Shield for Typhlosion, hoping we're ending today's video with one final Typhlosion sweep. The opponent instantly pivot into Cradilly, the CharonsClaw in a tough spot. Do we win this battle? We shield up the Rock Tomb, the CharonsClaw farms up to the double Blast Burn. We need this to get called. Blast Burn does knock out. Can we survive a Shadow Punch? One Incinerate and the Thunder Punch. A very nice fast move timing from the CharonsClaw. Can we survive a Shadow Punch? Please, Typhlosion, please. A Shadow and Shadow Crime. I think I'm hoping. But sometimes hoping or coping, as some of you say, it doesn't win battles, and that one does end in heartbreaking defeat. GG's that opponent. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's video. A huge shout out to the CharonsClaw for bringing us a very fun and entertaining theme team here in the Great League. Whilst all three of these Pokemon are absolute monsters due to having access to very hard hitting Comday moves, of course I wouldn't recommend putting all three of these on the same team, as stuff like Dragons just completely core break you. But of course the CharonsClaw was running this team for entertainment purpose, and at least I for one was very entertained. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below, and as always a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.